we can move on, man. John Stockton. John Stockton, man, so I already done an interview, not an interview, but I done an episode on John Stockton, man. He said something very interesting where he was getting interviewed and they asked him about LeBron and they asked him about his journey to his success and his rings and stuff like that. And he gave the analogy of, trading your players, firing your coaches, doing all this player movement and changes and team hopping and all that stuff. He said that was equivalent to trying to get to the mountaintop, but instead of you climbing it the way the people before you did it, you decided to take a helicopter to the top. So you got to the top of the mountaintop and you can brag that you got to the top, but you took an easier way than what everyone else did. They grinded it out with whatever team and whatever situation that they was with, whatever co-star they had. I'm going to grind it out. Like Stockton and Malone, look, this is what we got. This is what we're going to stick with. And we're going to keep going to the fight. And we're going to keep going up against this dude that they call the GOAT. And we're going to keep trying to win. Because guess what happens? If you beat him, if you actually beat him, oh man, the respect that you get in Utah, the respect that Stockton and Malone would get there. I mean, they would be immortal in Utah. They already are. But if they would have actually beat Mike one of those times, oh man, you couldn't put a price on it. And I think that type of attitude, John Stockton felt like if he would have just jumped on another squad, and got the ring that way, it wouldn't have felt the same. So he said that then, but here's him talking about, he was on the podcast with Adam Morrison, who they both, Gonzaga grads. And he asked him about the state of the NBA as it pertains to the rule changes and how they play in this era of basketball. This is what Stockton said.
Just real quick, I want to get into your basketball mind, obviously. Do you like the rule changes how they are now, or do you think there should be a little bit more balance to your era?
Well, I think there should be some balance.
Yeah.
I think it's really heavily weighted right now with a 3-point shot. I think it's really heavily weighted towards scoring. However it happens, whether it's 100 free throws, whether it's 43s or whatever, they just want to see the numbers go up, and I think that's a bad strategy.
Yeah.
The centers are largely gone. There's a few now that are kind of womping on people because there's no other centers to play against.
Yeah.
But, I like to see the balance. I like to see passing, which I think has been limited in this, inside, outside, doing both. But right now, I think they want guys to be able to run free, not be touched, and show their talents.
Well, I mean, obviously, as fans, we like the skill aspect.
Sure.
But also, you look at some of the score lines in a playoff game, it's 140 to 130. And it's just crazy. It's I made this reference on the previous show that'll air before yours is kids now are going to shoot 30 footers 10 years from now because they're all going to practice them. It's going to be a normal shot, which is crazy. When we grew up, if you shot 3 feet up beyond the 3-point line, you might get subbed even if you make it. So I've always wondered, greats like yourself, who played in that era, do you think it's good for the game or not? But I think a little bit of balance. I mean, obviously you want guys to show their skill. But I've always wondered, because you played pick and roll, you played open, right? Kind of like they do now, but you guys were in the 90s and the 100s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For scoring.
And we changed too, Mo. When I first got in the league, we were averaging, I think, 115 points a game, which is pretty legit. It was up and down and running, and it was physical. And I think you need to find those balances. I think the series that kind of hurt everything was New York and Houston, where I think the total score was, it was 85 to 84 was the average score. And so they say, okay, well, we don't like this, so let's go to the wide open. Let's not anybody touch each other. But I'm a believer, if you're a player, you need to be able to play through a certain amount of contact, period.
Yeah.
And I've watched you play long enough. You learn that. I mean, even if you're a skilled guy, tremendous shooter, but you knew how to play with physicality and deal with guys that were physical with you. And, if I can get off the subject a little bit, one of Bruce Lee's greatest things was he always said he could never reach his full potential unless he faced a guy that was good enough across him, literally to kill him.
That's a bar.
He said, because I can't learn to use his best shot, his best energy against him.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
It does. And I just thought, I read that a couple of years ago. I said, wow, that's it. You know, if a guy, if we are limiting the other guys where he can't bring his best shot towards us, then we can't ever learn to be as good as we can possibly be. And so I think that's what we lose when we protect skill guys and not allow them to be touched or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey man, he set a bar with that Bruce Lee line. He said Bruce Lee made the comment, which is, you know, someone quoted him saying, if I pretty much, if I don't fight the best and see his best shot, I don't get better as a fighter because I'm not seeing your best. You get what I'm saying? Like if put it or if you're trying to teach your son might be 10 years old, right? You don't take it easy on him and give him soft defense and let him get all his shots off. You make it as tough as possible because he's going to work so much harder to be able to finally get a shot off on his dad. Like you make it as tough as possible. You block all his shots. You steal every crossover he try to do. That's how you do it. You never give him anything. That way he actually develops a real ability to get past the toughest defense there is. So you actually making better players by letting the defense be real tough. Or you know, if a guy like Tony Allen, his strength is his forearm in your waist, or his hand check, or his physicality, you got to allow that to be part of the game, because that's going to make the guys you're trying to protect, like Steph Curry or whoever you're trying to protect, that's going to make them better. Because now, guess what? I can't come down and score on Tony Allen just going on one-on-one. So guess what I get? Guess what Steph Curry can use against Tony Allen? Well, I got all these big dudes down low. I'm gonna run through all these screens and let Tony Allen get hit multiple screens while I'm running around to get my shot off. Right. So you're gonna see a different form of the game, because they're trying to get points from someone that the defense is geared toward not giving him points, right? You know, so we don't get a chance to see all that now. All we see is a high screen and roll, and then one-on-one with 5 men standing at the 3-point line, or 4 men sitting at the 3-point line watching the guy with the ball, right? They'll go one-on-one, you'll see a step back 3, or they might be able to get to the rim for a layup. And mind you, the rim protector is on the bench. Andre Drummond barely gets minutes playing with Chicago. Dwight Howard can't even get on the squad. DeMarcus Cousins can't get on the team. Boban is just on the bench. Bo's on the bench. Like the real rim protectors and shot blockers and they can barely get on the floor the way they play the offense. They're switching every screen on defense. They're matching up big men, a 5 on a 1, trying to guard him, and we get to see that one cook and get layups. And even if you do have a big man that's on the floor that can block shots, like Brook Lopez or somebody like that, or Joel Embiid, they're rarely in the paint because the 3 seconds in the key rule. So they have to stand outside the paint and watch someone cooking, and then try to beat him to the rim for a shot block. You get what I'm saying? But it's a race to the rim. And I mean, it's just bad. And we just get to see, we just get to watch and see the same cookie cutter offense for every team in the league, because everybody's doing it now. Everybody's doing it now. Mikey Brass, one of our members, man, we are in the era of 5 out. That's exactly, I mean, we are. That's all it is. 3s, layups, 5 man out. Right. Accidental basketball. So I'm glad that Stockton said that. I like the line from Bruce Lee where he's saying, look, man, if I don't see your best defense, my best offense will never come out. You have to have that balance. You have to have it to where everyone can use their strengths. You can't create rules and create an offense or create a game in the NBA where the offensive player is at an advantage, and because we want to see more points. Like that's really lame to me. I don't like it. But that's where we at with it now. That's where we at, and that's why the NBA is at a decline.